Welcome to Breadcrumbs. This is the prophetic journal of a girl who's more than happy to eat the crumbs off the master's table. If you're like me, listen and be encouraged that even in the whispers and the mere shadows, our God speaks, and He has a lot to say. I got a call from my little brother today. He told me that last night was a really witchy night. He had a pretty unpleasant encounter with somebody that was practicing witchcraft on him. This encounter started in a dream. He was able to see the man in great detail and recognize him as someone that he often saw at one of his bus stops that he waits at. But in this dream, the man had his head covered in a deep hood. He was also wearing a long gold necklace with a pendant that was one of those shapes that human intuition immediately knows is evil. He said in the dream, the man started to hold up a hand and to mumble words under his breath. And then my brother started to feel the paralysis set in. This is very familiar to me. I have had sleep paralysis my entire life. Only recently have I understood that that is demonic. I've talked to the Lord about it, and He showed me that sleep paralysis really was a training ground for me. Hundreds of times in dreams would I sense something dark rushing upon me and feel my body lock up and my throat close over, and something really primal in my spirit would know that I just had to scream out Jesus. I think it's pretty remarkable that even though your jaw can be paralyzed, Jesus is a name you can say through clenched teeth. Try it right now. Say Jesus 3 times with your jaw shut tight. It totally works. And it does totally work. Even when I was little, when I would call His name, the weight would lift, the paralysis would break off me, and I'd be free to move again. At this point in my brother's story, I stopped him and I actually thought to ask, hey, did you feel like he was trying to rip your soul out of your body? Like, did you feel it pulling out of your chest? He totally confirmed. He said, yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I thought back to a time last summer when I had prayed against something particularly dark I felt in a restaurant in another town. And that night, something came for me. It pulled so hard on something invisible inside my chest that my back actually arched off the bed. And so I guess that's witchcraft. I guess that's what they try to do to you. But it can't work. We are safeguarded by the King of the universe. So my brother did the same thing I did that night. We called out Jesus' name, and we told the thing it just had to go. And then we rolled over, and we went back to sleep because honestly, no biggie. I know a man who is very experienced in the things of the Spirit. He says that whenever he travels, his presence tends to shake up things in the new town that he's in. And inevitably, the local witches come to check out the newcomer that's causing such a ruckus just by being there. He says he almost always has witches astral projecting into his room at night. What I love about this man is he told me this not like he was telling a juicy ghost story. He told me in a really offhand way, as if to say, this is just the way things are. And this is especially the way things are when you're a threat, when you start to grow up and mature in the things of God. You're going to turn the enemy's head. You're going to get visits. Don't be surprised. Don't be afraid. You know what to do. In January, I had a dream. I was at a wedding. The ceremony was over, and a band took the stage and began to play. But it was not a normal band. A luminous green glow flooded the stage, and a woman, sinuous and seductive, began to sway and writhe up on the stage. She was completely green. Her hair was like a living thing. It was like she was wrapped in tendrils of nature. The Green, I heard. This band's name was The Green. And I woke up in my bed saying, New Age witchcraft. It's always been here. It's just never been so out in the open. It's never been so popular. I read my Bible, and I know the story of the end. And I know that right alongside the pouring out of the Spirit of God, the witches and all of the powers and principalities that have been throwing their weight around down here they're going to get a boost of power too. And so I think we better get pretty used to night visits from unpleasant visitors. I don't know much about it, but I do know the power of that name. Know the name of Jesus and get used to saying it an awful lot. Don't say it like it's a magic spell. Don't say it unless you understand who it is you're calling out for. Please go find out who Jesus is. If you're not sure where to look, please get in touch. If you want to interact with any of these episodes, if the Lord has spoken to you about similar things, then I really want to hear about it. This podcast has an Instagram account over at Mildly Prophetic. I'll put that in the show notes. If you hop over there, you can share the things you've seen and heard. You can ask me questions. Basically, you can add your breadcrumbs to mine. And if we gather them all up, then what a feast it'll be.